MAGA rages over Trump's Chinese student numbers. I was on the Tree Godfather's shade tree the other day. We briefly talked about this. I showed up and I shouted and I raged because here you have Donald Trump engaging in this treasonous act. 600,000 Chinese students to be your managerial class, to be your leader class, to be the people who live in the big, really nice neighborhoods instead of you and your white ass. But what do you expect? Donald Trump and the cucks are serving the economy. That's their God, not the white race. That's not, they don't have a people. So they're serving the God economy. And when it comes right down to it, you have a white population that's deracinated, isolated, individualistic, and selfish. And they are stymied everywhere we go. We're taught to hate ourselves. We're taught from a very early age that it's wrong for us to share our opinions, to share our ideas, to share our inventions, to share our creations. So we learn at a very early age to keep our mouths shut so that the black girl can talk, so that the Hispanic guy can talk. We're taught to neuter and silence ourselves. How are we going to excel? We get into the classroom environment, and anti-whiteism is corrosive and works on us in a pernicious way in that environment. We can't excel. We move on, and you want to be in an advanced placement class. You want to be, but you're not going to be put in it if you're white. The odds are against it because they have to anti-whiteism, correct the white villainy from the past. So the non-whites have to be put in these classes. The non-whites have to be given preferential treatment. In a healthy Western civilization, even if another group of human beings suddenly appeared, they came out of Antarctica, they were living under the ground, and they showed up, and their IQs were all on average 150. A healthy white civilization would not allow them to come into the country and victimize our people by taking all of the best roles, all of the best jobs, all of the best, even if they could perform all of those things better than us. Why? Because our people, our biospirit, that's what matters most, not the GDP. We make the money, the GDP, the economy work for our flesh, our spirit, our people, not the other way around. So since Republicans don't care about the white race, since many of them are as anti-white as the leadership of the Democrats, right and the left are both anti-white, they don't care what ends up happening to you. So the white people stand up and they say, what about this Make America Great Again? We were all thinking that you were talking about our white neighborhoods, our white workplaces, our white sporting events, our white get-togethers, our white norms at the hospitals, in the parks, at the schools, in the national parks, in our conversations on city streets. We thought that's what you meant. But Donald Trump meant the economy of America. Clearly, he meant the abstractions, sans the white race. What we believe as Americans, the abstraction, the opinion that justice should be blind, that laws should be enforced. All of that can be done without anything done for the white race and our well-being. And you see that happening. 600,000 Chinese, the highest IQ'd, the most dedicated to education and working and etc., serves the economic objectives of the Republican Party, which are the ones that matter, not us. So this is not a shock to those who understand that both the left and the right are anti-white. It is nonetheless treason. It is surprising that somebody who ran on a platform that his base believed was one thing, as I just articulated, could be so insolent that he would say, screw what you care about. What matters is the GDP. And so I'm going to bring in 600,000 Chinese students. Here you thought we were going to have a whiteification, a westernization of America. But we're having a Chineseization of America. And you see it showing up more and more. Chinese holidays, Chinese New Year, their norms being projected into the world, changing our environment. As long as it elevates the GDP, the Republicans will be happy. Supporters of President Donald Trump are outraged by his announcement that 600,000 Chinese students will be allowed into the United States. Trump made the comments at the White House on Monday as trade talks with China continue, saying it was very important to allow Chinese students into the country. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was among the critics of the plan, saying the U.S., quote, should not let in students who may be loyal to the Chinese Communist Party. Now, this is the acceptable paper dragon, pun intended, that Republicans they're not allowed to talk about race because the Republican Party is anti-white. So Marjorie can't come out and say, we want a white America. We don't mind if there are people of other races here, but we want a white America. We are a people, and we are being injured by this transformation of the United States. And so that's what I'm standing on. Instead, it's what if they are loyal to the communists? You cannot defend our people with abstractions. And more than half of conservatives think you can. To this day, they still think you can. They still think you can disavow our norms and say our norms belong as much to the Chinese as anybody else. And that you're just going to hold up this shield of abstraction off to the side while the anti-whites are busy over here punching you in the face. Trump's announcement marks a reversal from his administration's previous hardline approach. And the America First policy, was it really a reversal? Or did you have political speak for the base, which, albeit he doesn't need the votes at the moment, but Donald Trump loves the celebration of Donald Trump. So he'll keep throwing them bones. Next week, he'll say something else, another bone to the white race, without saying white race. Earlier this year, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that the U.S. would aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students and tighten future visa screening. One hand not knowing what the other was doing. But Trump in June, that he had, quote, always been in favor, close quote, of allowing Chinese students into the country. I want to point something out if you haven't noticed this already. Trump, when he loses some point in a negotiation, he claims every single time to have always been in favor of the thing he gave up. So keep an eye on that. It's a way to save face for the guy who is the consummate deal maker. Trump's 600,000 figure would be the most Chinese students ever admitted to the United States. The previous high water mark was during his first administration. What is he doing? Chinese students so many of them are epic. When they get on their version of TikTok, it's all about education. The Chinese don't allow whores to get on there and everything else under the sun, liars, to mislead the young into traps of their time, degrading their intelligence, degrading their morality, degrading their etc. No, they go to school. They spend time at school all day long. They're studying. And of course, the highest IQ and most dedicated among billion plus population are going to make its way to the top. Many estimates put them at an average of over 100, just over 100. So what are these people but lucrative cogs to the economy worshiping Republican Party? Naturally, the businessman would look afoul at the white race that has been made into dogs, that has been made into self-hating losers, and say, don't want them as employees, don't care, don't need to lift them up, don't need to repair them, don't need to arrest anti-whiteism. We'll just find another population that's rocking it. That's what you get out of the right wing in politics across the West. Members of the president's Make America Great Again movement, including Trump loyalists. Now, remember, here you have Newsweek. Newsweek. What have I told you? Newsweek, Rolling Stone, on and on. These magazines forever have been talked about as CIA fronts, used to tell the population who you should be following, who is a big character you should be interested in. So here we have Trump loyalist Laura Loomer criticized the plan, saying that it would counteract the administration's mass deportation efforts. She is not white positive because she also disagrees with bringing in 600,000 Chinese. She's probably, as a very proud Jew, and Zionist Jew at that, she's probably concerned about the competition to her people at university. Another group of people coming in, high IQ, focused on education, and working together as a people. Others sit back at Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who said on Fox, the Ingram angle, that Trump's view was that if Chinese students were not allowed to attend, now listen to this. This is really special. If these Chinese students aren't allowed in, white people, listen up. And I also want you to pay heed to his concern that he's willing to admit. Okay? Quote, you'd empty these students, these Chinese students, if you don't allow them to come in, you would empty them from the top colleges, the best colleges. So he's admitting to you in the first part of this quote, we want them because they're smarter, harder working at school, they're more lucrative cogs for the economy worshiping Republican Party. White race be damned. He's telling you they're the top. They're the best. That's why we're going to bring them in. You can go to hell, white race. Then he goes on to say, all the students, as a consequence, from all of the other universities, not the top universities, all of the other universities, all of these students would then begin to attend, they would apply for and therefore attend the top universities. So the top universities would still have students, but they're not going to be as good, as smart, as hardworking as the 600,000 Chinese who are superior to them. White race be damned. And the reason why that's awful is because the bottom 15% of universities and colleges would go out of business. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid that the economy would be damaged if American students got to attend the top universities. the economy would be harmed. So he's admitting in this, that's a close quote. He's admitting in the statement, the Chinese are better than you, white race be damned. So I'm bringing them in. And if I don't bring them in, then you inferiors are going to go to those better universities. And that will cause the 15% of the lowest universities and colleges to go out of business. And that simply cannot be tolerated. The white race going to hell, that can be tolerated. 15% of universities and colleges that probably shouldn't be even in business, they will go out of business, and that can't be tolerated. Here you have a chart. This is from 23 to 24. Trump is going to fix this. The Indians, did you know that Indian students are 331,000 students, top schools? China was only 277. That's going to be fixed. I will point out, though, so get ready for the little misdirection. This Donald Trump, he knows how to, one, get attention for himself, which is important when you like applause for yourself. And number two, knows how to negotiate. So he'll probably, it potentially could say 600,000 and it ends up being 500,000. Then you'll feel better. So keep an eye out for that. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students. We're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow. It's very important. 600,000. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. Is that why you voted him in? Are you getting what you wanted? Did you vote for Trump because you want him to get along with China? It's not about getting along with China at all. That's just somebody quick on their feet, coming up with excuses. What are your thoughts on 600,000 Chinese students who will remain in America? They will, in my opinion, they'll have the nicest homes. They'll own all the businesses. They'll be your managerial class, as you see happening with the Indian population. And you white race, you can deal with it. Suck it up. We don't care. We're the Republican Party. We care about the GDP.